Hi, guys. Welcome to our new podcast. I will go down with this ship. I am Heather, and
And
this
I'm
is Chelsea.
Chelsea.
All right, Chelsea, why don't we talk about what this podcast is even about?
All right. So, for those of you who aren't aware, shipping is the act of creating a romantic pairing between two people or characters who are not necessarily otherwise romantically linked. That's called crack shipping, but we'll get to that later. And shippers are people who ship these characters, and the pairing itself is called a ship.
hmm
And
And what is the difference between canon shipping and what me and you basically are, which are crack shippers?
okay, so a canon ship is a ship that happens in the actual piece of pop culture or media, like in Harry Potter, Harry and Ginny are canon, and Ron and Hermione are canon. And then you have crack ships, like for me, I always ship Draco and Hermione. I will ship it forever until the day I die. I don't care. That's my crack ship.
And I ship Snape and Hermione, and I will die on that hill too. Uh, and crack shipping is just the most fun, just because the community, because we're all together, just crack shipping. Anyway, great. And so, but we're not just here to talk about ships. We are here to talk about how we can apply this pop culture to writing because we are both authors. So, Chelsea, why don't you talk about your background as an author?
Regency romances as Olivia Marwood. I also write steamy cowboy romances as Lauren Wheeler. I have a lot of pen names. I'm very ADHD and I like to write in all directions at once. And I'm also a developmental editor. And I see this happen all day, every day. Romance is my preferred genre, and I really love seeing how couples come together in stories.
Yep. And I'm Heather, obviously. I have multiple pen names for the same reason that you do. I love romance as my main genre, and I love all the subgenres within it, whether it's urban fantasy, even cozy mystery, dark hockey romance, historical romance, just all the things. I love it. And like you said, I love watching the characters come together. And I also do plotting. And so I focus on outlining and hitting those story beats, as well as character arc and development. And I feel like you and I have a very strong sense of structure, not only with plot, with that external plot, but with character motivation, with that romance, and how we can make it make sense, whether it's dark romance, whether it's something as insta love, just anything. I feel me and you have a good grasp of, okay, how does this fit into the story world? Or why do we ship certain things that aren't canonical? And I think that breaking that down also is going to help us as writers or anyone who's listening because of how writers have set certain things up or developed certain characters. So, since we're talking about ships, Chelsea, what was your first ship ever that you can remember?
Oh gosh, so I have been a hardcore Indiana Jones girly for my whole life. And Indy has a different girl in almost every film except for the most recent ones. And I was always a hardcore Indy Marion shipper. Like she was the only one who could go toe to toe with him. She was the only one who matched him on every level. She was the only one who was perfect for him. So like my first hardcore ship ever since I was itty bitty has always been Indy and Marion Ravenwood.
That is adorable. And I feel like that's so sophisticated. And I'm over here like, I think Daphne and Shaggy should have been together. That was my ship. So anytime I saw the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo, I was on it. I know everyone hated that one because of Scrappy, but gosh, I loved it because it was only Daphne and it was only Shaggy, and that's all I cared
Right?
about. Yep. And so, okay, so if you had a um OTP is one true pairing, and I know it's so hard because we are both of us are part of so many different fandoms. But if you could pick one ship right now, Or even let's not even do one. Let's say top five ships or any ships that come to your mind, just so we can give people who are listening or watching us a sense of who we are and what kind of dynamics we're into. So, what are your ships that you're kind of following right now?
Okay, I'll give you a top three
Okay.
right now. Um, Definitely Vault Ghoul or Ghoulsy. I've heard it both ways. The Ghoul and Lucy from Fallout. I am hardcore there for that enemies to lovers vibe.
Oh
I
yeah.
am so into it. Um, Colin, I love Penelope and Colin so much. I've read Julia Quinn's books. I loved the book and I loved the first part of season three. I'm ready for the second part. Bridgerton.
Bridgerton, right? Okay.
And let's see, who's my third? Like currently, because we have a lot going on in this house, but like Rip and Beth. Like Rip
Oh
and Beth
yeah, that's an
are
obvious one.
hardcore OTP. I love them so much. They inspired characters in the book I'm currently writing. Like I adore Rip and Beth. So yeah, that's my top three.
And I think it's really interesting because Rip and Beth is canonical. And usually you and I don't go for the canon, but that pairing is just so perfect. Like the writing for both of them works so well. The characters have that chemistry. I believe everything. I want them to be together because usually I'm not that way at all. And obviously, Ghoulsy, we don't know yet as of right now. I mean, I guess technically, canonically, she and Max are together, but I mean, she ditched his ass to go with the ghoul. So,
Yeah, like I really have high hopes that they might do us some fan service and go with the chemistry, but I don't know that they will. But I have high hopes. Like, and I'm spoiled having read so much in the indie space, like where we get served the ships that
exactly.
we want to see, and I'm just like, come on, mainstream media, can you please get on this bandwagon and do some fan service, please?
Yeah, and I think that that's something that we definitely will go into because, of course, we're going to have our Fallout episodes, whether we rehash the series or we just talk about the ship in general, and we might do all of it just because I think that obviously that's what's going like it's recent and we can point to it, but just the writing is so strong. And like you said, the chemistry between the actors are just, it's on point. And I think, especially because the type of media that we are going to dissect for the most part is visual. And so, talking about chemistry between the actors, if you're a writer, how can we translate that chemistry on a page where we're not necessarily watching it? I think that that's also a really good topic for you and I to kind of break down too, because it definitely is possible. Um, for me, my ships, I mean, I'm all over the place. I love like fandoms and everything, but like you, I'm very much Ghoul and Lucy. Like I thirst for that. I love it's almost grumpy sunshine, if you will. Like I love
Right?
that. Um I'm just gonna like word vomit. I love Damon and Rhaenyra from House of Dragon. I already touched on, Snape and Hermione, Daryl and Beth from The Walking Dead. Um, if we're talking about one of the it was gonna be canonical, but we just didn't get another season was Frank Castle and Karen Page from The Punisher. And then from the anime sphere, I love Kakashi and Sakura, which it's a very like it's kind of a professor student, which clearly is kind of my jam. I
I love
also and I like Levi and Historia from Attack on Titan. Gosh, I'm like looking at my Funkos to see who else. Oh, Beetlejuice and Lydia. I'm like all about that. I'm just like looking for inspiration. Wolverine and Rogue. I love them. And again, these are all basically like crack ships. But yeah, that's basically like that's where my head is right now. And so I think
my
that
Asian
yeah.
crack ship was Wolverine and Mystique.
Wow. Oh, I mean, no judgment. I can understand that. But yeah, so I don't know. I think the chemistry between Hugh Jackman and Anna Paquin. Oh, so good, so good. And it'll be
It was
interesting.
excellent.
Yeah. But anyway, okay. So that's basically where our heads are. And our job, our goal is to take this media and how we can apply it to our own writing. Because like Chelsea said, in the indie sphere, we can write these ships that in mainstream are crack ships, and we can dissect how can we do this in a way where we can become sympathetic with a character who potentially, like Daemon Targaryen, is just, sordid, debased, like all of these wretched things, but he has that one good thing that all of people love to read about. And how can we apply that to our own writing, and just kind of go from there. And also, we aren't going to be afraid to talk about what's going wrong in mainstream and why certain canonical ships just did not work for us, whether people agree with it or not. But we can break down, okay, here's why I didn't buy it, or here's why this character motivation doesn't make any sense to me based on how the writers have already crafted this character. And I think it's going to be really, really helpful to apply it to our own writing because character motivation is everything, whether it's in romance, plot, everything. So I'm really, really excited, because Chelsea is my go-to person whenever I'm like, oh, I need help. Like, what do I do here? My characters are doing this. And so I'm really excited to talk about stuff that I love. And I haven't seen a podcast like this, so hopefully it'll be helpful to other people.
I think it's really exciting. And I just love diving into like the character psychology because that's what really drives all of these stories. As on a deeper level is the psychology of these characters and how their psychology either meshes or clashes.
Yep.
And that's what creates the chemistry at a deeper level. And I'm really excited to see, like, I'm excited to analyze it and I'm excited to apply it to our own writing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, is there anything else that we want to discuss before we move on to our first episode?
Um, I think we're good. I think we just need to let people know that what we are going to be doing for this first season of the podcast, what we're going to be focusing on in the next upcoming episodes. And then I think we're good to move on to our next episode.
All right, go ahead. Why don't you handle that?
So I am a total slut for Ghoulsy. So that's what we're going to be doing. We are going to be looking at the Ghoul and Lucy from Fallout, and we're going to be going episode by episode and not just breaking down the character chemistry and like the characters and their growth and the arc and the potential for a romance between them, but the story as a whole and how it sets up that potential.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I have some crack theories also. Like I have some crack theories that I'm going to put out there.
Crack
In
theories are
addition,
everything. We need the crack theories. I love just the little, my favorite thing to do is look at each character's own story and figure out how do they mirror each other. And I don't know if this is like a conscious thing on the writer's part, but like, and we'll get into this when we start getting into the Fallout episodes, but just when you are writing, how can something that your hero does is also something that your heroine either does the opposite or something similar? And very vaguely, like both the Ghoul and Lucy are both looking for family. Whether it's in the same way or not, that is just one example of a mirror. And if we take it back to my original ship, Daggy, oh my gosh, I always do this, Daphne and Shaggy, one of the things that people talk about and why they think that maybe the creators were secretly shipping them together was because if you look at um, the coloring of their like clothes, it was very I don't even know. Like it was very like Daphne had like a green sort of like I don't know, a scarf or whatever, and it was very reminiscent to Shaggy's shirt, whereas Fred's sort of ascot was orange, which is very reminiscent of Velma's orange. And so I don't know if that means anything, but that was like a piece of like, oh, this could be, but again, that is an example of a crack theory, and we are all about crack theories because they give us life. So yeah, so let's so it's really I'm really excited that you guys are here. We both are. And we hope that you enjoy this and that it helps you. So if you, yeah, if you have any other questions, you feel free to drop them in the comments and we will see you soon. Bye.
Bye, guys. See you again soon.